So what we're going to do, guys, on this week's episode is we've got a Sega Master System controller, and I want to convert this to a 2-button controller for the Commodore 64. We all know they've only got 1 button on the Commodore 64, but normally the up is jump on a Commodore 64. So what I'm going to do is convert the up to also work as button 2. So that's what we're going to do right now. So this is a Master System controller that I picked up off eBay. As you can see, it's in quite a sorry state. It's very dirty, it feels manky to the touch. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to give it a good clean with some IPA, and a little bit of cloth and some IPA. So just put a little bit of IPA on the controller and let's give it a good clean off and see where we get. Because I really don't want to put my hands on this thing until it's clean properly. That looks better, does that? We'll try and get into the nuts and crannies of it a little bit later. I just want to get the thick off for the minute, rather than getting it all over my hands. And you can hear that squeaking. You can hear it squeaking because it's scraping against the muck and crap. A little bit more, some more IPA. Yeah, it's certainly looking a lot better now. It's cleaned off well there. Seems to have cleaned off well there, and that seems to have cleaned off there. I'm going to give it a good scrub. I'm going to drop the case into the bath and give it a really good clean out, because it is really bad and it is absolutely acky. It's stuck to it like mad. Yeah, it's looking loads better. A little bit of cloth is dropping in pieces now. And it's going to do that because it's covered in IPA. We'll just do one last little run to give the cable a clean. So all I do is put some IPA on the cable and just pull the cable through your hands, and it should just clean that all up. We'll have a look at the cloth once I've done this. You can see how dirty that cloth is now. So right, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's take a look at this. That feels a loads better already. It's not brilliant. You can still see muck up there and muck in these gaps here, but we'll come to that shortly. If we flip it over with these nice little rusty screws in the back here, let's hope that they come out if they're not too corroded. There's only 6 in the back, so we don't have to worry too much. Should be easy done. And here comes Sid. I'm going to start creating mayhem. Hey Sid, you alright, mate? Right, so we've got 2 out so far and the others look really rusty. I'm going to try and get in. And that's going to be quite difficult, I think. A flat-headed blade. Look at the rust coming out of them. I might be struggling to get these out of here. Oh, there's another one gone. So at the moment we've got 2 up at the top that won't come out. Jeez, look at the rust. Look at the rust. So these are going to be fun, aren't they, to get out of there. Right, so I'm going to have a little bit of a difficulty getting these rusty screws out. What I'm going to do is just pause it there, and then we're going to attack it with some other stuff, and then I'll come back to you and explain to you exactly how I got them screws out. Right, I've got them back. What I've had to do is take this big drill and just match a drill that's the same, just slightly bit bigger than what the threads are, and then gently pulse the drill. Don't go hammer and tong at it. If you go hammer and tong at it, all you're going to do is overheat the screw, get it red hot, and then it'll just melt on the plastic. I don't know how well these have come out, so I'm just going to pop the back off now and let's take a look. Let's lift off top. Which part comes first? Yeah. So yeah, as I suspected, it's very, very grungy inside there. So let's stay to the edges of that. So that needs to go in the bath. We'll just pull this cable out here. We'll lift this board off here. We'll lift this board off here. They're not held in with anything. It's just all it is just popped in. So that's all we're doing is just lifting them off the seating area from where they go. That cable hooks around inside there, and we should be able to remove that out of the way. And then we're left with the buttons on the controller and its D-pad. 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 Okay, so this is what we're left with on that controller. We can see if we can get hold of that screw and see if we can undo it. I'm not holding much hope for that, to be fair. We'll take that out there, take some pliers. We'll try and get hold of that screw there, turn that. If it doesn't drop in bits, I'm hoping that one will come out, because that sits near the control pad. It looks like it's coming, it's coming. Yep, we got it out. That's what's left of that screw. So that's out. I don't know how we're going to do the others. I think I might have to try and drill them a little bit more and see if we can get it to go. Have to be very careful though, because these posts are not very strong. So that needs to go in the bath. We'll give that a scrub later, and we'll give this a scrub a bit later. Let's take a look at this controller. Right, I'm going to try and zoom you in a little bit if I can. How are we going to mod this? How are we going to mod it? Move these wires. I can't see anything for wires. Right, let's put that under there. So, you can see on this circuit board now, if you look on the circuit board, we've got a black that comes down to here, and we all know black's ground. So that joins into this one. That bridges over to there. So you can see how that comes down there and joins to this pad. And this one all comes over here and joins to this pad. We've got a jumper wire across there that goes around here. And it goes to this pad at this side, that one, and that one, and that one. So we can see that all the pads are grounded. So the up, what have we got on the up? If I look at that up, we have a brown wire that goes here, which comes along that trace to the up. Over this other side, which were button 2, which we wanted to mod, we have a white wire. If you can just see that just there, that white wire. That one runs up here to that and comes across there and goes to that pad. So I want to make this so I can reverse it if I want to again, so it's not very difficult to do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to snip that white wire off. Snip that white wire off, which that is as button 2. I'm going to cut that white wire a little bit shorter so it's insulated, and we're just going to leave it inside the controller. So that's that done. So all I need to do now is to link across the brown wire across to this wire up here. So we're looking on the board, I don't know if you can see that on the board or not, but there's a number 1 there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got them all the wires are in there. So that one, like I said, that one was white wire. This is a brown wire for this one. And all we really need to do is solder a wire to there and jump it across to there. And that's pretty much it to mod that button. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get it all built back up and we'll see how it performs. Right, so I managed to get them screws out. They were an absolute pain. You saw me drill them out. So what we're left with is these pillars that are pretty knackered, to be fair. But I have seemed to rescue them a little bit. So what I did is I run a pilot drill down the centre of them holes, and hopefully we should be able to get some screws back into that. They're not very clever, and I don't mind showing mistakes neither. So I run a pilot drill through that one and it run away with me, and we've ended up putting a tiny little hole at the top there. So we'll call it a breather hole for professional gamers. So unfortunately we have put a little hole in there. We could probably do something with it and fill it up with a bit of black of something, but I don't think it'll be very noticeable anyway once we get it all back together. But you can see now that all the edges are all nice and clean and scraped off, and it's looking pretty damn fine, and it feels good as well. So what I want to show you as well before we get down to this, what we're doing is just warming the soldering iron up at the moment. That's the D-pad. There is other buttons, there's other carbon fibre pads, and there's other 2 fire buttons. So we'll put them up there. So the back's looking okay, as you can see there, that one broke out, look. We've still got security up top of these. The screws go in, fingers crossed, they will. Don't know what's going on up here, but try and poke that through. Yeah, that's come out, look. Little screw head. And we'll just try and clean out around that hole. That's better. That'll do us. Right. So that's that. What we're going to show you over and above top of that, just bear with me a second, is what I do is I take a clean pad, and to clean these contacts up you have to be very, very careful in there. You can clean them with a bit of IPA. I've just scrubbed them with some soapy water in the sink, and what I do is I put the pad down and I just pull gently. I don't know if you can see on camera there, but you can see them little traces, look. So that's cleaning, the paper is actually cleaning the fibre pad on there. So that should make that work a lot better, even though they were working to start with, but it's good practice just to do this so you don't have any issues in the future. I only do 2 lines, it just takes the top shiny coating off. We'll also do this with the D-pad as well. You can see them carbon pads in there, look. Like I said, you don't want to do too much, you don't want to take too much off really. That's better. Right, so that's that sorted. That's as pads done, as cases cleaned. Shutter that bit. And you can see there now, that's the carbon that's come off them pads that's cleaned up. As I said, them buttons did work, I just wanted to give them a good clean, just to make sure for the future. So I'm not going to clean this up with IPA just yet, even though it does need a good cleaning. Let's get them soldering points done. I don't know which way to go with this now. I think I'm going to go over the back way, jump that brown wire across to there, which I think we can do very easily if I solder off the back of that point there. and solder onto the back of that brown there, and we've got a little link wire at the back, so it should keep it away from any problems with the controller when we're putting it all back together. So I have got a little bit of wire where I put somewhere, so it doesn't need to be great big wire, it just needs to be a little wire like that, that's all we need. Pop that down there. I'm going to use some flux on them connections. This is the flux that I use. It's no clean, even though I clean it afterwards as well, but you don't have to with no clean. So I mean, it does look like there's plenty of flux still on that connection. I know I'm soldering the other side, but I want to put some on this side as well to help that solder flow in case it does flow. So we'll put a bit on there, and we'll put a little bit over there on that little brown wire there. And then once we've done it, I'm going to test that with the multimeter. So, has his iron warmed up enough yet? Let's get a little bit of solder. Let's see if we can get a blob of solder on the back of this one. No, I think the wire's dropping through, so we're going to have to go through from the front anyway. Wire's going to be a pain in the ass, but hey ho, shouldn't be too bad. So let's solder on there. A bit of fresh solder on there. Always better to put a bit of fresh solder on. Putting fresh solder on will help tremendously with the way things that flow. So this is the wire that's going in now for the second button. Did that not stay? That's stuck in there nicely. Just to try and tin that little bit of wire because I haven't put any on there yet. That's nicely tinned. And what we need to do is just put that wire now onto the brown. And we can put that iron away. So that should be our jumper wire that's jumped across there for that controller button. If I take the multimeter now and set the multimeter to buzz for continuity, so you can see there now, look. So we're going to go across the earth pad and the fire button pad, and we have nothing, which is what we do want to have, is nothing at the moment because we don't have a carbon fibre pad that's pushing across there. But if I'm going to do this, but if I sort of join them pads up, it should give you a beep. So if I go over here to here, it should give us a beep. And it does because it's joined. And if I go from the earth side, we should be good over there, which it is. So that should now give us an up on the controller, which should give us jump in some of the games. So let's get this cleaned up and put back together. This is a drop of IPA. Oop, a little bit more than a drop in that top, but we don't mind so much because it's going to come off anyway. We'll do the same with the other side. Another little tip that I actually noticed when I was watching a couple of YouTube videos the other night, I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was a Game & Watch video where it was showing you that in between these pads here, the carbon off the bottom of the button had actually come off and gone in between these two tracks, which was making the buttons not work properly or working incorrectly, because obviously the carbon that's on here joins these two connections, and if you've got carbon in between them two connections, then they're joined, aren't they? So that's something to look out for, guys. If you're ever stripping a controller down, just make sure that you look between these gaps and make sure that there's no black carbon in between there. Let's give it a little bit of a wipe on the back. Not too bad on the back. Do a bit more down here because it seems to have dragged some old flux. So that's almost looking like new again inside there. Right, so now we're ready to get this thing put back together. I wonder how it's going to go. Let's rock and roll. Let's see what happens. So first of all, we're going to take that, and we're going to take that, and we're going to drop that into there. I'm going to take another button. You gotta be careful with these buttons. They have little tags on the side. Look, can you see that tag? You just want to put them tags inside them gaps if you can get them in. So just inside that gap, look, in we go. And just inside that gap again, we'll pop that inside there. So that should be that. Next, we have the carbon fibre for the controller. So put that way around, look. I believe, I hope. And we'll take one of these pads. These should have, they've not got anything. Yeah, I thought they would have had, but they don't. Put that pad in there, and we'll put that pad in there. If I hold them up, you have to hold it up a little bit, and then the buttons can drop into the holes. So we can take this board, sit the board over the top, just in reverse order to what we took it apart, really. Let's try and move that wires back under there where it went. So a bit of a strange setup how that went on there. So let's try and get that wire in first. So the wire goes in there, does it? Curls up there to there, and that locates into that, and they should locate into them little button pads there. It'll go on. Yep, we've gone in. Ooh, cooking with gas, cooking with gas. So you can see quite easily how that dropped back into place. So I'm going to put these on, and then we're going to have a look for some screws, see if I can find some new screws for it. I don't think I've got any, but we'll see what we've got to find for them. They are a bit rusty and I don't really want to put them ones back in. So that's back in there. That one looks really, really good. So I'm going to put that one back in just to hold it all in place. So it's not dropping in bits while I look for some others. Right. What are these like? Yeah. Let's see if we can find some more screws for the back of that. Right, I didn't want to bore you while I was scratching through for some screws. I didn't really manage to find as many as I would have liked in the space tub. So we're going to end up having to put these rusty ones back in just for the time being while I get some more. But I did find some more of these little screws here, these tiny little screws. And I've put one in the back there, which is for the hole there. And let's see if we can get these other screws back into the unit. I've only put that one back in there. The little hold part where it pushes against this one to hold the back on that one hasn't gone. I suppose we'll 3D print one of these backs, but I like to keep things original. So we've managed to get them ones in there. Let's try and put one last screw in the bottom of here. I don't know what this. Where's it gonna go? No, it just falls out. So we've done as best for the time being until I can find some better screws for that. But now we're all back together. We need to test it. Let's see if it works. Let's see if the jump works on this button too now, as well as the up. So I'm going to take you back to the Commodore 64 and let's fire some games up and let's see if this thing still works. Let's check it out. Right, so here we are over at the Commodore. Here's a Sega pad, Master System pad that we've converted. I'm going to load Ghostbusters. No, I'm not. I'm going to load Ghost and Goblins up. I've loaded it up on the Ultimate and froze it so we can fire it and let you have a look at it. So I'm going to press the center button on the Ultimate now, which is going to take us straight into Ghosts and Goblins, and let's check this controller out. So we've got us button 1, as you can see there. That's button 1 for fire. I have put the cheats on, so it's unlimited lives, things like that. I am putting invincibility on, just so you can test that. But you can see that button 1's firing that. Up is jump lock, but we don't need to use that anymore. So we can now just run along like that and press this button 2 for this jump, which makes it a lot easier when you're wanting to dodge things. Don't make it any easier on this game, trust me. Ghosts and Goblins has always been renowned for being hard. But you can see we have now got a 2-button controller on the Commodore 64. I hope you've enjoyed the video. A little bit of an outro at the end. Hope you'll stay and watch that bit. So what do you think of that? A 2-button controller, Sega controller, on the Commodore 64. Yeah, okay, Sega controllers work on the Commodore 64, but button 2 doesn't. And all we did is convert the up to the button 2, so it actually gives us an up when we're playing the games. It's a lot easier to try to fiddle the control to try and get up, sometimes up ladders, jumping about over things, having to press open buttons at the same time. So I wanted to mod that. It's also handy because it's a really small, tiny controller. For those of you out there that's got small hands, mentioning no names, alas. So this is going to be really good for her to get into the Commodore 64 because she was struggling with the big controllers and stuff like that. So that's why I've done that. I've made that for our last player. If you enjoy the channel, guys, please like, subscribe, drop us a comment. It helps all them analytics for YouTube to get videos pushed out there for me. We're also on Patreon now, so if you wish to support the channel, please hop along to Patreon. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that get put into Patreon and things that get shown on there before they come onto YouTube. So if you'd like to get involved, by all means, hop along to Patreon and I'll see you over there. We're also in Facebook, so if you want to join the Facebook group, by all means join and let's see all your retro goodness. Anything at all, I don't mind. Retro computers or retro things, laser discs, anything at all. Alice were down in Wales the other day and she called into a computer shop just off spec, as you do. There's not many women that do that, is there? But I'm really appreciative that she does like this stuff. And she come across a Sinclair C5 and the guy was really nice. He pulled it out and let her sit into the C5s and see how it felt and things like that. I'll pop a picture up there. She's going to hate me for it, but there's a picture of our lass messing about with a C5 in Wales. I'd like one of them. I've seen them before in the past. I've been a long time ago. But yeah, I'd love to get my hands on one of them, but I do believe that they're not cheap anymore. So like I said, we're on Facebook. Hop along to the group. We're also on Instagram and we're also on Twitter. So we've got plenty of ways to get in touch with us and have a chat with us. If you want to donate anything, by all means give us a shout. If you want me to repair something for you, by all means give me a shout again. So that's it for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!